Hello my loves, I'm Jessie Man6, your sister in the craft, and this is the Melting Pot. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my second video in my Curse and Hex series. If you missed my first video, I'll have it linked down below, but in that video I went over the different types of curses and hexes, how they vary throughout cultures, throughout history, how they vary in range of severity, and the different ways they can be cast. So if you missed that video, go give that a watch. And I also there talk a little bit about my intentions behind this project. And just briefly, I'll touch on that again here. My goal for this project was to touch on a subject, a very controversial subject that has a lot of limited information out there. But now with things like TikTok, we have our culture is becoming more of an aesthetic, and people are realizing this is a good way to get views, and they're sharing information in a very limited way with limited research or limited information backing it. And that kind of caused a lot of upheaval in the witching community, and rightfully so. But this information is important. Even if you're not going to be working hexes in your own craft, you need to know how to protect yourself. And that's what today's video is all about. We are going to be going over warding and psychic protection and different ways to protect yourself throughout your skill level, whatever it may be. For time purposes, of course, I can only fit so much into one video. This one will be a little bit longer in nature because I can only cut back the information so much. I think this is really, really important for your craft. This topic alone, warding and banishing and psychic protection. Like I said, even if you yourself do not have any intention of working hexes or curses, that doesn't mean that somebody in your life doesn't feel the same way. You know, there could be somebody around you who may include those things within their craft. So it's important for you to know how to protect yourself. And you will also learn within our first video that sometimes curses or hexes can be unintentional, as in the evil eye. So it's really good to have this knowledge so that you can protect yourself, because even if there isn't some crazy skilled witch in your life who has the ability to curse hexes on you, there could be jealous people in your life, and they could even be strangers. So it's important to know how to protect yourself from that kind of energy, what to do with it, how to prevent it, and if you do have it, how to cleanse it, which we will be going over in the next video in this series. So for today, if you want to grab a notebook, we're going to just jump right in with the wards. Before you ever begin spell crafting, I'm sure you've heard of warding or banishing methods. There are obviously more ceremonial practices. Today, the approaches I'll be talking are more folk-based traditions, but there are many, many different ways of warding, banishing, and protecting yourself. So, what are wards? The purpose is in the name. These are things that you do to ward off negative energies and negative entities. That's why it is so, so important to have a good grasp on this before you start spell crafting, because you need to know how to, one, keep your energy in, but you also need to know how to keep unwanted energies out. You don't want to be calling in or allowing in the wrong kind of energies. So warding your altar space, warding your home. You can ward your car even. Some people wear a talisman to ward off energies. So there are many different methods. When you're making wards, you're going to want to keep in mind similar things that you actually will see used within hexes. Things that are spicy, stronger herbs, or more spicy, hot herbs, like any peppers, cinnamon, things of that nature, things that have a more spice kick to them. The spicier, the better. You will see nails used in wards, bent nails for protection. Actually, I included today one of my favorite warding techniques. If you ever go walking on railroad tracks, you'll often find iron nails like this. and I urge you to grab them because iron is a great tool for warding, and you can place these at each corner of your property and create a barrier. Obviously, more goes into it than just putting them in the ground. If you're curious how these railroad spikes can be used within your wards and you want to learn more about them, just drop a comment below and I'd be happy to go in depth more with a tutorial on how you can use those. Are you okay, sir? For wards, you can use things like sachets, you can use little jars, you can use, like I said, iron. I am going to be sharing in the next week or two one of my very favorite methods for warding my home, and it's also a great cleansing method, so stay tuned for that. And warding, there's just endless possibility. There are so many different methods for warding. You can put a bowl of salt in each corner of your house to absorb the negative energy. Salt is a great thing to use within wards as well because it is very cleansing. And another thing you may look into incorporating is Feng Shui. If you're looking for more discreet ways to ward throughout your home, there are things that you can build your space around to create a certain type of energy and to protect your energy. And one of the things within Feng Shui that they do for cleansing energy is 9 lemons in a basket. You obviously will have to look into reading the lemons because they will change in their appearance, and these are things that you have to look for to know. But there's all kinds of really interesting ways that you can incorporate wards into your life and into your home. Also, keep in mind when making your wards, when you do things like sachets or bottles, you can include sigils to charge them further as well. So, like I said, get creative, feel your way through it. There are so many different ways to incorporate these within your practice, and they are so important because, like I said, before you ever begin casting, you want to make sure that you're protected, that your space is protected, so there are no outside unwanted influences, influences having a hand in your spell work or in your life at all. So, without making this video entirely about wards, there are some of the basics of warding, and I would be more than happy to touch on this further. If you want some more info or some recipes, I would be more than happy to craft some here with you. You know I love spell crafting. But to move along, I've really wanted to get into the psychic protection methods. The first thing that I wanted to mention is veiling. This is something very powerful, it's very prevalent in many cultures. The ideas behind the veils varies from culture to culture, but within our witching practice, veils can be used as a way to shield your energy, to shield that crown chakra. Not only to protect you from outside energies, but also to keep your energies harnessed in. I know some practitioners who wear them every day, everywhere they go, and then I know some practitioners who only wear them when they are going to be in large crowds or unwanted situations where they might be experiencing the influence of outside energies. So you can veil with scarves, with bandanas, with little do-rags like we wore in the 90s. It is a great way to just kind of hold that energy in and harness that energy. Aside from physically veiling yourself with a scarf, there are other methods too. You can also make an anointing oil to anoint your third eye here, your pineal gland. And you can use things like vitamin E oil as your carrier, and if you don't have too sensitive skin, you can add essential oils or just keep the base of the vitamin oil, and you can add some dried herbs as well to charge it. And then you can anoint yourself each day for protection before you go out into the world. With that being said, I wanted to get into the other 2 psychic protection methods that I wanted to share with you. This method, I'm using an egg to act as a vessel, a stand-in vessel. And what I mean by a stand-in is the egg is going to represent me in the event of a psychic attack. By bonding yourself to the egg, we are going to bless the egg first with holy water. And if you're unsure of how to make holy water, drop a comment below and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. Pause. So we're going to bless our egg with the holy water, and then we are going to anoint the egg with a blessing and some oils. If you are unsure of how to make anointing oil, I'm going to link below a video that I shared making protection oil. It has very much the same method of constructing it. You will just utilize different herbs for the purpose that you are trying to attract. You're going to anoint the egg and name it as yourself. For ladies, if you wish, you could include some moon blood to help strengthen that bond between yourself and the egg. When using this method of the egg, you're going to also have a vessel for the egg itself to sit in inside the refrigerator. So inside that vessel, put a base of some sea salt for your egg to sit on. And also you can include within this salt things that represent yourself. So you can include hair trimmings, fingernail trimmings, some of your perfume. You can write your name and your birth date on the egg. Any identifying things, anything to bond yourself to this egg and to consecrate it as an item, as a vessel of yourself. You are making a bond to this egg. I would not recommend holding on to these too long, as nature will take its course. When you do release them, it's best to do so on a full moon, because that's when we send things out. On the new moons we call in, and on the full moons we send out. So that's a perfect time to release this bond and to start anew, because your egg will begin to rot. And if this is signifying you don't want, you get where I'm going with that. I would recommend maybe every 30 days switching out a new egg. If this is a method that you choose to stick with for a while, you can set your new moon for anointing your egg and naming it, and your full moon for releasing it. And that is a great way to utilize this within your craft for psychic protection. Okay, so I was going through my clips and I got to where you've seen so far, and I was getting ready to add in the next psychic protection method, and I realized that the length of that video was about the same length as this video in and of itself. And since it was a more advanced method with some heavier content, I decided that I would put it in its own video, which I don't plan to hold off on releasing it. I'm going to try and get it out around or a few days later than this one. So stay tuned for that. But that explains the abrupt ending here, and I just wanted to kind of put that disclaimer in there. So if you were looking for the more advanced psychic protection method, it is still coming. Stay tuned for that. I will have it up sometime this week. And until then, bless.
Bless.